Welcome into the I-80 Boys College Football Show. Chris, the Tennessee Volunteers. How many wins, how many losses do you got them pegged in for this year?
Christian, this was kind of a tough one for me to do. One, I'll say because the schedule isn't like terrible for an SEC schedule. I don't believe there's any such thing as obviously an easy schedule in the SEC, but like this schedule is crazy to me. I have them going 8-4, and I had to second guess this, and I went back and did it again, and I came up with 8-4 again. And here's my losses. I'm sure we'll disagree on these, but Georgia, Tennessee just can't beat Georgia. That's facts. At Alabama, that's gonna be a tough one. I have at Kentucky right there, following that Alabama loss, and then I have at Florida. We know Tennessee can't beat Florida in the swamp, so I got them going 8-4. Christian, what's your thoughts? I want to hear. You know more about Tennessee than I do. Let me know why I'm right or why I'm wrong.
I also have them going 8-4, but here's where I disagree. I think Kentucky. I know it's not easy to go on the road if you're Georgia to play Kentucky, but everybody else seems to do okay when they go on the road playing Kentucky. I feel like sub in OU for me. I know it's a home game for them. I think OU's on the upswing here. Tennessee's kind of maybe on the downside or downswing there for me. Just one of those things that, I just 8-4, like you said, Chris. I struggled with it. I wanted to figure out a way to get them to maybe 9-3, 10-2. I just couldn't do it with that. I mean, though they went 10-3 last year, lost to Ohio State in that miserable playoff game. Oof. They just got curb stomped, and it was pretty cold, and not good for the. For the old Knoxville faithful down there. Chris, what's the most important game on the schedule to you?
I you know what, man? I know, and you're going to disagree with me. I want to say Georgia because it's obvious because it's real early in the season. But I just like Kirby Smart has figured out Josh Heupel. I mean, he just has. So I don't look at that one. Plus, it's home for Georgia. The game for me, I would say, is at Alabama. Like at this point. We'll talk about the offense here. They got a slew of new starters for Tennessee. Quarterback, obviously a big one. I think that game is going to be an interesting one. I mean, depending on what your thoughts are about Alabama, me and you are very high on Alabama again this year. But I think it's almost that two-game stretch there. You talked about Kentucky. You go on the road at Bama, on the road at Kentucky, and then you got to play Oklahoma. That's a fairly tough stretch there, especially SEC play. I think the Alabama game, I don't put it on the Georgia game. I just don't feel like there's any way that Tennessee can beat Georgia. I know that's going to piss off the Vols, but I don't see any way that happens. So I'll say somewhere in the middle of that schedule. Christian, what about you?
Yeah, I put it in there as Georgia. It's the first, I think, other than whatever Syracuse is going to be this year, whatever, not trying to disrespect Syracuse. I just think if you're Tennessee, you should expect to beat Syracuse like they do every year when they play these ACC schools. But 2016 was the last time Tennessee beat Georgia. Can Heupel finally pull it off? I mean, I know he's beat Bama. Can he do that, but with Georgia? Kind of like how Georgia, doesn't matter, they lose to Alabama. Can Tennessee get over that hump at home against Georgia? That's the big question I have here. Chris, you touched on some of their key losses. They lost quarterback Nico, I'm going to leave your ass. Running back Dylan Sampson. Two of their better wide receivers, Brew McCoy, Dante Thornton, defensive end James Pierce Jr. to my Falcons, defensive tackle Omar Norman Lott, and cornerback Will Brooks. Now, there's also another thing going on here, and it's a developing story. Nickelback Boo Carter, who kind of plays both sides of the ball. Chris, have you heard about this?
Yes. Yeah, kind of the same Nico type thing going on there, right, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, exactly. So that's still up in debate at the time of we're recording this. So probably by the time this hits the airwaves here in a week or so, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, interesting sort of thing there. Looking at their key additions right now, quarterback Joey Aguilar put up 3,200 yards, 25 touchdowns last year at App State. Kind of an interesting thing. Jumped in the portal and committed to UCLA, was there for a very brief time. And then when they ended up adding Nico from Tennessee, he jumped over to Tennessee. Joey Aguilar did. Right tackle, David Sanders. He was a 5-star true freshman who's projected to start. Should be really good. We know Tennessee can put out some good offensive linemen. The right guard, Wendell Moe Jr., was Arizona's best O-lineman last year. And he can play either guard spot with ease. I think that's going to be pretty good for him. some of their top returning players. They bring back Deshaun Bishop. He's not Dylan Sampson, but he did put up 450 yards and 3 touchdowns last year. They need someone to step up, I feel like, Chris, in this wide receiver room. So look for guys like Chris Brazzell, Miles Kitselman, the tight end, Mike Matthews, and Braylon Staley to make an impact this year for them. Defensively, they rotate a lot. So, expect a lot of guys like Tyree West, Bryson Eason, Davian Hobbs, and Dominic Bailey, as well as Jackson Moy to play a lot this year. Linebacker Arian Carter, who's been like the heart and soul of that defense, I feel like, for a lot of these years, is really good. They get him back. And the secondary brings back Jared McCoy and Boo Carter for right now, who had really good seasons last year. Chris, anything we want to add right there as far as additions, losses, returning players?
No, you did a great job breaking that down. I will say, I think Tennessee is one of the toughest teams to predict, for me personally anyway, just because of everything they've lost from last year, right? I mean, they've lost a majority of their players on the offensive side of the ball. That defense was really good last year. That's what really propelled them, to be honest. I know it's a Josh Heupel offense, and we talk about what a guru he is, but that defense last year, and outside of Dylan Sampson, who had a remarkable year last year at running back, but I just have two. They're just, to me, it's, and that's kind of why I got them going 8-4. Like, and they could do worse than that, honestly. This is the SEC. But man, they got a lot of pieces to fill, a lot of shoes to fill there. So like, I don't know. It's hard to predict that because we just don't know. They could come out and look really good. I do think the schedule, like I said, to start the show off, I don't think it's easy by any means. This isn't the worst SEC schedule we've seen. Tennessee could do some things too, but I have a hard time predicting them. Christian, you did a good job breaking them down. Any last thoughts from you on the Vols?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple questions here. Number one, can Tennessee score more than 20.75 points in games versus top 15 opponents? Kind of like you said. I mean, generally, to win those games, Chris, you got to put up 30 plus points in order to have a realistic shot against top 15 opponents. Another question I have, can Heupel get them back to the playoffs? Like you touched on, this schedule isn't overly difficult. It's not easy, but it's not the worst schedule in the world either. So can he somehow make something happen? Maybe shoot for the moon, get them to 9-3, sneak into the playoffs there, and make some noise. The biggest question everyone's going to have: what will this offense look like with Joey Aguilar at the helm? Now, Tennessee brings in really good talent in the quarterback room. So if Aguilar starts struggling and maybe they end up dropping some of these games where they shouldn't, by the time they get past Kentucky, or they may be starting one of those really talented 5-star or high-end 4-star kids that they've got in their quarterback room by the end of the year.